13th, 2023 Tualatin City Council meeting. Great to see all these scouts out here tonight in recognition of some terrific Eagle projects. But let's go ahead and get started tonight with our Pledge of Allegiance. And since we do have scouts here, we'll ask our scouts to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We've the 4 Eagle Scouts are coming up.
God and salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
We'll do it next time. All right, that brings us to announcements, and top of the bill is recognition of some Eagle Scouts, and Jackie Conan will lead us in this presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Bubenik and council members. I am Jackie Conan, the Volunteer Program Manager for the city. It is my pleasure tonight to present you with 4 amazing scouts who've made great contributions to our community over the last 6 months. The highest rank of Scouts BSA is Eagle Scouts, and one of the requirements of achieving this rank is to propose, plan, and complete an Eagle Service project. These scouts have successfully completed Eagle Service projects proposed by our Parks Maintenance team. These projects enhance and preserve our parks, green spaces, trails, and community assets. Many thanks to the 4 scouts we're honoring tonight for choosing and successfully completing projects in our community. The first scout I'd like to have come forward is Matt Hines. Have a seat with me, Matt. On the slide, you see Matt's project. Matt is a senior at Tualatin High School. He's been a scout since 2012, participating in troops 845 and 530. He's earned 27 merit badges in his 10 years as a scout. Matt has been awarded the designation of Eagle Scout. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For his Eagle project, Matt repaired and replaced 120 feet of split rail fence at Juergens Park. He logged 100 hours to prepare for and complete the project and engaged 18 volunteer scouts and parents in the effort. Matt's advice about the scouting experience, and I quote Matt, "Get ready to have fun experiences and learn skills that will help you in the future." Thank you, Matt.
Here's the photo thing. You're gonna put this one? Oh, come around the table. Okay.
Gotta walk a little.
Gotta walk a little, yeah. Get my steps.
I'd like to call Judah Kester to the table. Judah graduated from the Oregon Youth Challenge Program and is now a freshman at Portland State. Judah has been a scout for 11 years, also earning 27 merit badges. His favorite merit badge was Wilderness Survival, where the challenge was to build a shelter in nature. Judah's project was at Tualatin Community Park. He removed and refinished 3 wooden benches surrounding the sand play area. In that same area, he planted a shade tree to replace a tree that was broken in the last winter storm. And he guided volunteers in cleaning debris from the ever popular sand and water play area. Judah had a few insights into the challenges of the projects, and I quote Judah, "We were all ready to go and the power drills had dead batteries." How many has there been there? And to quote, "I did not think that sanding was as much work as it is." Judah's advice for scouts: do everything you can early and don't wait until the last minute. Many thanks, Judah. Congratulations. I'd like to call Samuel Coleman to the table. Sam? Right. Sam is a senior at Mountainside High School. Sam led 18 Scout volunteers in 3 different projects at Brownsbury Park. The Scouts installed a bench at the park near the new footbridge, which involved concrete footings. They prepared the boardwalk for winter safety, and they applied 15 yards of mulch to the greenway on the west end of the park. And it looks in that bottom picture like they also ate a lot of pizza.
We were expecting about twice as many people as what we got, so we got a lot more. than we Should have.
Sam's favorite takeaway from being a scout is the deep bond made with other scouts and leaders. To quote Sam, "Things from scouting that will stay with me for life are the ability to survive an apocalypse, how to stay healthy, and the scout law and oath." Thank you, Sam. And I'd like to call Sophia Wang to the table. Sophia is a senior at Westland High School. Sophia has been a scout only since 2020. She's participating in troop 5555, and in their community, they're famous as being known for the triple nickels. She began her journey in scouting on Zoom, including having campouts on Zoom and completing merit badges on Zoom. Sophia's project was to repair and refurbish 5 benches at Jurgens Park. With the help of 10 volunteers, Sophia sanded, repaired, and stained the benches in her garage before reassembling them at the park. When asked what she learned from the project, I learned that I'm not a woodworker. I learned about different tools like the electric ratchet. I learned that the planning was very important. Having a plan was good, but you have to be prepared for things to change. There will be bumps along the way. Getting started was the hardest. I did procrastinate, but once I started, it went well. Thank you, Sophia.
I want to thank all the scouts for coming out tonight and supporting your Eagle Scouts who complete their projects. I'm a former Boy Scout, well, was Boy Scouts back then, now scouting. And I'm still doing the scouting thing. It's kind of interesting that I'll get calls from troops for the citizenship and community badge. They need to talk with elected officials. So I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings, meeting scouts from all over the region. And terrific question. This is what astounds me is that, and they're from the whole Portland metro area. And the questions and the depth of the knowledge of what's going on in the area is terrific with the scouts. None of the questions are softball questions, which I hope for, but doesn't happen. But transportation, homelessness, houselessness, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, all these questions came up from the scouts and how city government works versus state government. So big support of the scouts. You only made it to Life Scout. Didn't have the ambition to make Eagle Scout quite as fast as you did. Wow. That's a tremendous feat, for those folks who don't know it. It's not easy to become an Eagle Scout. In my experience, is the exceptional person who gets the Eagle Scout. I just want to recognize that you guys did some exceptional work on behalf of the city of Tualatin, and I very much thank you. You're invited to stick around for the whole council meeting if you want to, but if you don't, you can scoot out. All right, I'll give you a moment. Here's this phenomenal. Oh my God. They're cranky. Right. All right, we're just up here saying, we're just amazed. Becoming an Eagle Scout in 2 years is crazy. That's ambition. All right. Next up, we have the 2022 Employee of the Year recognition led by Cheryl Lombo.
Kit, if you can come
Yeah.
on up.
Congratulations, Ken.
Yes. So it is my pleasure to get to introduce the City of Tualatin's 2022 Employee of the Year. This is a longstanding program going back 20+ years, highlighting the amazing work that our city employees do on a day-to-day basis. Employees nominate other employees with a committee that reviews and then narrows it to 3 finalists that I get to choose from and then present to at an all-employee meeting that we had in February. This year, there were 17 nominations for 12 individuals. So some individuals got more than 1 nomination, including Kit, from 6 different departments. So pretty widespread throughout our organization. I am thrilled to announce that Kit Loraleed, our librarian 2, and our first ever Makerspace librarian is the 2022 Employee of the Year. The proclamation that the mayor will read details many of the reasons that Kit is the Employee of the Year, but I want to highlight some background and a couple more reasons. So the city, through the library, has had a focus on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, which is STEAM, the past number of years, particularly since competing for and winning the America's Best Communities Award, which focused on STEAM programs. Out of that came the idea for a makerspace, which is a dedicated space in the library for hands-on creative exploration for all, not dependent on whether you have the money to purchase a 3D printer or any other of the expensive technology that or hands-on stuff that we have in the makerspace. So we opened the makerspace in 2021 and promoted Kit to be our STEAM librarian in charge of the makerspace. Kit has embraced this role, helping create a space that genuinely excites our community. Kit has made a space that is user-friendly and has very few barriers to access. Please join me in congratulating and recognizing Kit Loraleed for Employee of the Year for 2022.
Where's yours?
Oh, floor is mine. Well, then I just got to say, come on down. I don't think I've seen most of your faces in there. So come on in. It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. So.
What's that? The proclamation. A proclamation declaring Kit Loraleed as Tualatin's 2022 Employee of the Year. Whereas the Employee of the Year program is designed to recognize the work and actions which bring credit to the city and improve our ability to deliver excellent service to Tualatin's customers. And whereas Kit was hired as an on-call librarian 1 in August of 2008 and transferred to an on-call public services assistant in June of 2009, they were hired in a part-time status in June 2010, awarded full-time status in November 2018, and promoted to Tualatin's first STEAM librarian 2 in May 2021. And whereas in October 2022, The library's makerspace celebrated its first highly successful year, having seen over 3,500 people come in to use the space. The success of the makerspace is thanks in large part to Kit Laura Leeds, who oversees everything to do with the makerspace, including programs offered, equipment that is available, and engagement with users. And whereas in their year as STEAM librarian, Kit has explored and learned all manner of technology, from troubleshooting 3D printers, I heard about that, to rethreading a sewing machine, turning the corner of the library into an explosion of engineering, science, creativity, and straight up fun. And whereas Kit serves Tualatin's patrons with a smile and a confidence that speaks to their extensive skills and experience. They can help a 4-year-old find dinosaur books, turn around and help a senior do genealogy research, track down a warming shelter for a houseless patron, and then pivot to recommend a slate of graphic novels to an eager teen, all with a wonderful sense of humor that endears them to coworkers and patrons alike. And whereas Kit strives in their work to support equity, both for community members and coworkers, often advocating for others to ensure they have equal opportunity and access. Kit looks for ways to bring learning and creative opportunities to the community through outreach beyond the library's walls. And whereas Kit consistently demonstrates Tualatin's core values of teamwork, respect, having a one city mindset, empowerment, problem solving, customer service, and being non-bureaucratic in multiple ways every day. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Tualatin, Oregon, that Kit Laura Lee is named the 2022 City of Tualatin Employee of the Year, introduced and adopted this 13th day of March 2023. Congratulations.
People get to go up and accept it.
Right, that brings us to our Arbor Month proclamation with Ross Hoover leading the charge on this one. He's like, what? I am?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So we are bringing the proclamation to you at this evening's council meeting. Even though Arbor Month is next month, this is the last council meeting prior to it being Arbor Month. So we wanted to bring that to you tonight for you to read and proclaim Arbor Month in 2023.
Yeah, hope I got the date right, Jackie, April 8th is the planting, right?
Correct.
At
Yes.
City Park,
Correct.
along Hedges Creek, which is now flooding.
It is very full right now. Yes.
And then at the April 10th meeting, there will be, or is it April 10th?
Correct.
There.
Yes, so typically what we do is the Arbor Month proclamation along with the Arbor Month presentation. And so on the April 10th meeting, we'll have the Arbor Month presentation to present to you.
But so I want to make sure people know on April 8th, it's a planting. I think it starts, isn't it, from 9 to noon, I think, or 8:30 to noon, something like that in Community Park. Last year we did it in Jurgens Park, and I think there was 900 pieces of stock that were planted on the roof on the side of Jurgens Park, right next to the river. So I think we just want to told folks that we have hundreds of plants again to plant on Hedges Creek. So we're looking for volunteers.
It is a fantastic opportunity. If anyone is interested in volunteering for the community, if anyone watching this was inspired by the scouts that were just awarded at tonight's meeting and want to do something similar to give back to their community or participate in their community, the April 8th event that Jackie organizes and so many people participate in is a great way to do it.
A lot of families come together and do it.
Really is. And we are so fortunate, I think, not only the city organization and you, mayor and council, but our whole community really embraces the fact that we are a tree city and that we plant thousands and thousands of native plants and trees every year. And that event itself is a great demonstration of that value in our community.
With that, Councilor Sacco will read the proclamation.
All right, the proclamation declaring the month of April 2023 as Arbor Month in the city of Tualatin. Whereas Arbor Day is a celebration observed throughout the nation and the world in which individuals and groups are encouraged to plant, care for, and celebrate the many values of trees. And Arbor Month is observed in the state of Oregon during the entire month of April 2023. And whereas healthy trees reduce erosion of topsoil by wind and water, moderate the temperature, calm traffic, clean the air, produce oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, and are a renewable resource, giving us paper and countless wood products. And whereas trees beautify our community, increase property values, and enhance the economic vitality of business area in Tualatin, and thousands of trees and shrubs are planted by volunteers in Tualatin's parklands every year. And whereas 2023 marks the 36th consecutive year, the city of Tualatin has been certified as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for following best practices in community forestry management. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Tualatin, Oregon, that the City of Tualatin designates the month of April 2023 as Arbor Month in the City of Tualatin. All are urged to support efforts to protect and plant trees, to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations. The City of Tualatin supports the Oregon Department of Forestry and the National Arbor Day Foundation in the recognition of the value of trees and forests by proclaiming April 2023 as Arbor Month in Tualatin, introduced and adopted this 13th day of March 2023.
Thank you. That brings us to item number 4, the Parkinson's Awareness Month proclamation. There is no presentation, but Council President Pratt will read the proclamation.
Proclamation declaring April 2023 as Parkinson's Awareness Month in the city of Tualatin. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States. Whereas Parkinson's disease is estimated to affect approximately 1 million people in the United States, and the prevalence will more than double by 2040. Whereas Parkinson's disease is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Whereas it is estimated the economic burden of Parkinson's disease is at least $52 billion annually, including indirect costs to patients and family members of $29 billion. Whereas research suggests the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of the disease is still unknown. Whereas there is no objective test or biomarker for Parkinson's disease, and there is no cure or drug to slow or halt the progression of the disease. Whereas the symptoms of Parkinson's disease vary from person to person and can include tremors, slowness of movement and rigidity, difficulty with balance, swallowing, chewing, and speaking, cognitive impairment and dementia, mood disorders, and a variety of other non-motor symptoms. Whereas volunteers, researchers, caregivers, and medical professionals are working to improve the quality of life of persons living with Parkinson's disease and their families. Whereas increased research, education, and community support services such as those provided by the Parkinson's Foundation and other organizations are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Tualatin, Oregon, that April 2023 is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month in the City of Tualatin.
Thank you. All right. That brings us to public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the City Council regarding an item that is not on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments to about 3 minutes. If there's anyone here in this meeting or in the Zoom meeting would like to address the council, this would be the appropriate time. I'll start with folks that are here at the meeting, and I have one sign up. Tiffany Mikulski. Hi, come on up. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for the time. This is Rachel Carpenter. We're residents on Southwood Blackfoot Drive. And we've reached out to Tualatin Police and also the city regarding possible permitting of our street. We abut the high school and have recently had a lot of issues with high schoolers parking on our street, littering the street, lots of smoke boxing during the day. We both have young children, so it's definitely become an issue. Also, the Byram walkway is right there. I live right at the corner, and cars love to go as fast as they can around a small corner. So we were told bringing it up to city council is the next step in possibly permitting.
Yeah, usually, I don't know, is it led by the police department or there's a process that we go through? I mean, because a lot of the streets around the high school are already permitted through an established process, so I'll hand the.
We've been handed to a lot of people and we've been
Yes.
told that this is the next steps coming.
Yeah, from the police. We've had multiple police come out and they're super timely. I also want to say thank you to the Tualatin Police. They get back to us right
If
away.
there's a process, I think
Yeah.
Cheryl's gonna give you a little bit about information about.
Yes, so the process is for you to come and then the council give us direction to follow up on it and to probably do a neighborhood survey and see the level of support and then work with the neighborhood and then bring that back at a work session with the results of that survey.
Good. The hardest part we've seen in the past is getting the majority of your neighbors to agree.
And we actually
That
have gotten
won't
to
be a
that point
problem.
before.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have gotten to this point before on our street, but neighbors weren't aware of the letters that were sent out, so. Yeah, we just need to kind of go through it again, I
Yeah,
guess.
once the letters are sent.
We're gonna door knock and
Yeah.
be like, hey, just so you know, don't throw away this letter.
No, but I think, you know, we've always supported folks who wanted to get the pre-permitting going because of either issues with the school joining their property or a large apartment complex and overflow parking. So if you go through the process, we'll be fully supportive of, you know, having them come back to us and looking at it and ideally approving.
Right.
So what do we do now?
So we'll,
Yeah,
we'll follow up on it. Yep,
okay,
they're the next step.
perfect. We'll walk over there. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, that brings us to the consent agenda. These items considered routine, that we adopted by one motion. Unless someone on council would like an item removed and heard separately later tonight. Tonight, the consent agenda consists of 3 items. Item number 1, consideration or approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of February 27th, 2023. Item number 2, consideration of resolution number 5677-23. Authorize an amendment to a services agreement with Consort Inc., formerly Murray Smith, for the Tualatin Moving Forward Bond Program and authorizing the city manager to execute the amendment. And finally, item number 3, consideration of resolution number 5678-23 to exempt specific affordable housing developments from property taxes. Is there any item on of these 3 items that council would like to remove? Nope.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as read. Any discussions on those motions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, 0, abstain, 0, it's unanimous. That brings us to special reports. Special report number 1 is Tea Park, the Tea Park annual report. Some very familiar faces.
Know what you're talking.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Bubnik. Thank you, Council President Pratt and council members. My name is Emma Gray. I am the current chair of the Tualatin Parks Advisory Committee. I'm joined tonight by my vice chair, Beth Dittman, and it is really our absolute pleasure to present to you our 2022 annual report. You'll see on the first slide there, this is us. We are all there in our Zoom meeting. And I don't want to steal Beth's thunder, but one of our goals is to have a little bit more in-person contact this year. So perhaps in the next annual report, you might see us actually within proximity of each other. But we've had a very positive year, and you can see there our mission statement. We are a group of enthusiastic, spoiler alert, advocates for the parks and recreation system with a focus on the stewardship and enhancement of our community. The next slide shows the current members as of 2022 at our March meeting. Actually, tomorrow we're going to be inducting some new members. So next year's annual report, we'll have some new names. But this group was tireless and dedicated, very committed, always attended meetings, very collaborative. And I was really grateful to serve alongside every person listed here. In addition to myself and Beth, Denise Klein, Michael Klein, John Makepeace, Claire Roach, and Anthony Warren. I want to talk a little bit about what we do. You can see the highlights there on the slide. This probably is not a surprise to much of you. We hold regular meetings every month. We learn a lot from our park staff, which I know I'm biased, but I think are one of the most amazing group of people that the city has working for them. And we are given the opportunity to evaluate things that are going on, provide feedback, give suggestions, and it's really a responsibility and an honor that none of us take lightly. We represent Parks and Recreation to council in presentations like this, and a presentation you'll hear from us next month about Arbor Month. And we attend activities and events. So we like to advocate for community participation and provide community outreach where that is particularly helpful to park staff. We serve as the de facto tree committee and Bee City Facilitation Committee, which also is a huge factor in what allows our city to continue to be recognized as a tree city and a bee city, because having an established group that takes on that role is a requirement of both of those programs, and we get really excited about that. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our accomplishments in 2022. It is a very exciting time to be a member of T-Park, and it's a very exciting time to be a community member in Tualatin if you care a lot about parks, because there's a lot going on. You can see it's a pretty long list there. I'll let you all read that, really highlighted by the passage in 2022 of a long worked on bond measure. And the one thing that I want to say about every single thing, every single accomplishment on this list, from the big ticket things like the Veterans Plaza plan and the bond, to the perhaps less exciting things like us evaluating, using a matrix to evaluate all of the park utility fee projects that had been presented. Every single one of those accomplishments impacted our community in a positive way and would not have been accomplished in 2022 were it not for the dedication and the work of T-Park members and staff and electeds that have worked tirelessly on parks issues for many years prior to 2022. And I really feel like these accomplishments of 2022 are a really exciting culmination of a lot of dedication and work that went before. So those were some of our really high level accomplishments. I'm going to turn the mic over to my co-chair, vice chair, Beth, to talk about the goals that we have for the coming year.
Thank you, Emma.
You're welcome.
You'll see, we actually have 2 slides worth of goals because we are not done yet. This year, different from years past, we've divided our goals into 4 main subgroups. And within those kind of started to drive down into, I'm known as the rubric queen, not just within our group, but as others in which I serve. So I would like to drive down and actually actualize on items that we say we want to do so that our actions match our words. So within the Parks Bond, we want to make sure that we continue to stay informed, but also continue to keep the foot on the gas with the projects going forward as planned and as promised. And our second big important goal in terms of subheadings as diversity, equity, and inclusion, continuing to strengthen the diversity of our community membership by looking at how we do or do not represent our city's population and looking to ways for us to remove barriers to access for people who aren't actually already represented on our committee. Looking for ways for ourselves to collaborate and coordinate with other existing park committees, and looking at things like our park naming policies. And if we look at it as a diversity and inclusion piece, where we want to have our people have the opportunity to meet at least once a quarter in person. Within that, we also look at our next subheading at sustainability and climate action, looking at our tree code and looking for ways that we can improve our climate resiliency, looking for pollinator information and resources that we can share, as well as information about trees that we can share within our community, and exploring opportunities for us to find an integrated pest management program, which is a long-term approach, which takes step-by-step approach. Our last is collaboration, again, this looks at like diversity and equity inclusion, but also like collaboration, looking to host some joint meetings as we have in the past with our arts committee, but also other advisory committees, looking for places where we share goals and can work collaboratively together. You'll see within those goals, not just lofty ideals, but also we have been driven down and looked at our meetings as leaders of this group. And then within T-Park, every month, we look at finding a few of those within each quarter so that we can actually be driving towards those goals and end results at the end of the year.
And we have instituted a practice whereby these goals are on our meeting agendas each month so that we don't forget about them and we don't have an opportunity to, not pay attention to them, with the goal being that when we come to present to you our 2023 annual report, these will all have been accomplishments, or at least we've made strides towards making them accomplishments. So, are there any questions, comments from the council? We would love to provide you with anything we can.
I do have a question in regards to the integrated pest management program.
Mhm.
That would be for city parks or for residents at large?
Park properties is my understanding. This is something that we as membership are going to become quite a bit more educated about. And as Beth mentioned, it's a long-term process. As with many things in public service, it is multifaceted. And something that on the surface may seem very technical has a lot of stakeholders and there are a lot of different ways to approach it. So we're going to learn more about it and be guided by city staff on that.
I would be happy to lend my expertise on that. I do work with large HOAs and we develop an integrated pest management program for them,
Okay.
which are all encompassing. To help along, I can even provide you with a sample of what it looks like. You guys can cherry pick whatever you feel is suitable for the parks.
Okay.
I do work with large communities. I think if I was to collectively aggregate the amount of landscape, it would probably equal or greater than the city parks. So I
Wonderful.
can provide you with what one looks like.
That would be
as a
great.
starting point for you guys, because it's so important to include the right plants.
Yes.
Drought.
Yep.
In our policy, in our companies, if a plant needs insect control, remove it and replace it with something that's not. One thing to also consider when it comes to integrated pest management, it isn't so much just the insects and plants, it's also the resources to maintain those plants.
Absolutely.
As a conservation measure as well. So
Yes.
I'd be happy to provide you with a sample.
We would absolutely welcome that. It sounds like we're definitely on the same page when it comes to a lot of those issues. So thank you for that very much.
That is, your timing is perfect.
Yeah.
That's on the second quarter plan. So that's we're coming right up.
I just want to say thank you so much for your leadership over 2022 in the Parks Department and T-Park and all the work that you helped lead for the bond program. I know you guys did an incredible job and it took up a lot of time. And I just want to say thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Questions or comments for that? Councilperson Grimes.
Well, yeah.
Grimes, you- Grimes.
We'll have it.
The changing of the guard.
I just want to thank you, for all the work that was done this year and how exciting it is. We have that Parks Fund, but also looking at this list, I'm just seeing that you're continually evolving and looking at new areas where we can improve. And I really appreciate that you have this focus on involving the community with these decisions. And I did want to ask, you don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what are your thoughts on reevaluating the current park naming policy? I was really interested in that.
Well, it's our understanding that that's a process that just has not been done in a great many years. And because we know that we have this influx of funding
And we can see very clearly down the road with the Basalt Creek project and all of our park bond projects that are coming down the road, there will likely be properties that we will want to name. And as a group, because this had not been addressed for a long time, and there aren't a lot of really clear guidelines and parameters, we wanted to take this as a opportunity to address it before we are naming all of these things. And really, all of this, as you know, is under the purview of council. Anything that T Park does is going to be a recommendation, based on our guidance from staff. But it is our opinion that it would be a real boon for council to have something tangible and a tool that you can use before it becomes necessary, because I think there's going to be a lot of small and large parks properties that we are gonna want to name. And there are a lot of different ways to do that. So the more we can plan ahead, I think the more effective and equitable and celebratory that we're going to be able to be with the way that we choose those monikers.
Thank you both for coming out
Wonderful.
tonight. Yeah, you guys do a perfect job. You're like energized. Energy is perfect.
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to communicate with council, and we'll see you next month to talk trees.
That brings us to general business. We have one item under that, and that's consideration of ordinance number 1473-23, creating the Tualatin Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access IDEA Advisory Committee, defining its scope and authority, duties, and membership. Oh, wait a minute. I screwed up.
Okay.
Just pretending.
We already talked to Mike already tonight, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Tualatin moving forward quarterly update, Mike. Got Betsy all excited. She was up there. At least we're not beating up on you like we want to know. You get lots of praise.
Yeah, well, good evening. I'm Mike McCarthy, the city engineer, and I'm here to provide the next quarterly update for the Tualatin Moving Forward program. And I'm very excited to be able to make this presentation. So we've had a lot going on, as I think a lot of you have been seeing around town. In the months of January and February, those are usually months when contractors, pack up and go to Hawaii for a while or go skiing or whichever. In both January and February, we've accomplished over $500,000 each month in construction work. So that's over $1 million, even with all the snow and cold and wet and rain and everything else that's been going on. So it's been an exciting time, and we've got more coming soon. And then our next quarterly update will be in June, tualatinmovingforward.com. And this is our busiest year of construction. We have 25 projects built, 11 more underway. A lot of those 11 are getting, a few of those 11 are getting really close to being finished. And then we'll start by highlighting some of the things that are happening on the horizon, some of the upcoming projects. And so here's the ones that are remaining. And then, yeah, not that many. So we're down to one column, which is exciting. And this is one that we are opening bids on tomorrow afternoon. And it's traffic getting to the I-5 Nyberg Road interchange and trying to make that a little better. And we have a drone video of this. I think it was taken in the fairly early morning. Traffic's a little lighter than usual. As traffic approaches the interchange, they tend to get bogged down in the right lane, going to both I-5 South and I-5 North. So we're planning to change the striping so that at this point here that you can see the right lane becomes a drop lane onto I-5 South. And then the center lane will then go to I-5 North. And then the left lane will be going straight across the bridge. You could also take the loop ramp to I-5 North from the left lane as well. And then now we get into where traffic tends to back up, where that third lane starts right now, just before the Cabela's driveway. A lot of times people can't get to where that right car is, the white car, because traffic's backed up in the other lanes. So we're planning to narrow the median between the Cabela's driveway and Martinazzi so that people can pull into that left lane to go straight across, or the far left lane to turn left into Cabela's. That pulls enough fair amount of traffic out of the line of traffic waiting to get on I-5. And that actually helps, gives us a fair amount more capacity there. So for not a whole lot of widening the road, we're able to really increase the capacity of this intersection from what we anticipate. So we anticipate better safety. We're also building a bike lane up to this intersection as required by the state, and then a new crossing. So there'll be a signalized bike crossing of that right turn slip lane. And then I should back up a bit here. So the section right here along Fred Meyer, where we're widening the median, because there's no bike lane there, the Oregon Bike Bill would require us to add a bike lane because of the work that we're doing. The problem with that is it then starts getting into the trees, the sidewalk, and pretty quickly into Fred Meyer's loading dock. And that gets really expensive. So we're providing an alternate bike route. So instead of routing cyclists through the interchange area, which as a cyclist, I can tell you is one of my least favorite places to ride, we're routing people this way to the trail that goes underneath I-5 and will soon be completed across the back of the new apartment complex in the old RV park property, all the way into Browns Ferry Park. And so, thank you, Ross. That's a far better connection for a cyclist than riding through the freeway interchange. So we will include a fair amount of striping work on Boone's Ferry to help people get to that trail. The existing travel lanes will remain, the existing turn lanes will remain, but a number of places they're extra wide. So we can narrow them up a bit and fit in a much better bike facility and make some improvements there. So this will be a big project that really affects a lot of downtown for a relatively small amount of money relative in transportation project terms. We anticipate it'll take a couple minutes off of the travel time for drivers, some hours of the day heading east to get towards I-5. And improve some predictability, particularly what's real important for freight and truckers is to be able to know how long it'll take them to get through a particular corridor. And we anticipate improving safety. So a lot of great things will be happening. We're opening bids tomorrow. So we'll let you know who we get as a contractor, and that will be coming back, I think, April 10th for council approval. We hope, if everything goes well with the bid and we end up with a contractor that we can work with. So most of the work will be getting done at night because traffic is, so heavy here all day. Anything out in the road will be requiring at night. There will be some more ADA ramp work that could be during the day at the corners and then up here by the driveway. And then the narrowing the median, that will all be at night. The plants that we've chosen for the median, we're going to try to go as low maintenance as possible, because I don't want to be out there in the middle of 12th and Sherwood Road having to maintain plants. And, our crews would want to do as little of that as possible. So most of the work would be at night, and we plan to be getting it done spring and summer of this year. Another one coming up, this is Highway 99W from Pacific Drive or the Pony Ridge subdivision to 124th Avenue. And we also have another video here. We've dubbed this one Scary Movie. And if you live in that subdivision, this is your legal walking route to get to like the rest of the city, or to get up to the trail that's going underneath 99, or to get to 124th Avenue, jobs and houses and friends. And our plan is to build a walkway basically under the power lines through this area to provide people a safer place to walk. And so this is what people have to face right now when they're walking. And we are looking to do something about this to provide a better place for people to walk. Because it,
Like,
yeah. I asked our consultant manager if he offered hazard pay to the person making this video. So I think that gets the point, and then it'll be going right along the fence line as a place to walk through here. So that we anticipate going to bid in April, also for construction in the summer. For both projects, we'll be bringing an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation to get that work done. So this shows a little bit more of where the project is and where the walkway would go. And some of the work that we've been getting done, and I've been pretty excited to see it. Our contractors been able to make some really good progress, even through the winter. So we're excited to see most of the walkways on Boone's Ferry, are now complete. They're just now working on the east side of Boone's between Iback and Blake. And coming soon will be the lights along the High West Greenway between Siletz and Avery. And that'll be bollard lighting, kind of about the height of this table to help light the path. And then a few other like flashing lights at the crosswalk, a new crosswalk near Apache, and some work with the traffic signals. The next phase of Boone's Ferry, here we all are out there, and the next phase of Boone's Ferry will be coming in the summer. Here's some of the other work that's happening. The Hazelbrook project area, most of the concrete and asphalt is now done on that one. We have a couple more signs coming, crosswalk sign, and then the striping along Jurgens, and the striping the new crosswalk between Wasco and Kiowa, and then adding flashing lights at the crosswalks on Tualatin Road that we've recently rebuilt ADA ramps on. And then Martinezzi and Mohawk, and Martinezzi near Fred Meyer, we've actually finished all the concrete work on these as well. And we anticipate the flashing lights for the crosswalk at Martinezzi Mohawk and Boone's Ferry 84th as early as next week, weather permitting. A day like today is probably not the best day to be installing electrical equipment outside. So we're waiting for drier days on those. We also just started construction on 65th Avenue near the hospital, and a new crosswalk right near the bus stop. It's about halfway up the hill there. Again, when we get a drier day, we'll be pouring back the ramps and then installing the lights there and a new street light. Also including the next phase of Boone's Ferry Road, which will go from Tualatin Sherwood down to the Marquee Senior Center or near Sagert Street, including some lane fixes there and one spot where the center turn lane currently disappears. We'll be revising that to keep the center turn lane going through. And then at Avery, we'll be building a small right turn lane for people eastbound on Avery to turn south on Boone's Ferry heading towards the high school. It's a pretty heavy right turn movement there. So that'll all be coming in the summer and then the fall. And we actually got a lot of positive comments for people. We were real nervous about having to flag traffic down near the high school, and we knew there'd be some delays involved, but we really pushed the contractor to keep the delays to a minimum and work as best they could. And we're glad to see we actually got a lot of positive comments from folks about the flaggers and how well they work down in that area. We are, as we're in the last year of the program, we're going to be spending a lot of money over the next several months. The $500,000 construction months will likely be $1 million construction months as we get into the spring and summer. So this 16.5 million was as of the end of the year. I think it's up to almost 18 now that's been completed. And then some more of the work is coming. We are leveraging some transportation development tax dollars to get the complete Boone's Ferry corridor projects done. So any questions or comments?
I have a question. So, can you help me picture where the lane disappears, the center turn lane disappears that we're adding that in on Boone's Ferry?
It's right in front of the Chelan Apartments, or just a little bit north of Marquee.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Oh. We just, and you can answer this when you come back in April, but on the, in front of Fred Meyer there on Nyberg, that whole thing, how long is estimated for the construction of that? Because I know we'll get asked that.
We'll have a better idea once we have a contractor on board and see a little more of their schedule. I think we're anticipating 3 or 4 months for the whole project, particularly from when they get going to when they're really off the road. And then a little longer for some of the final finish work. But we will try to make it as quick as possible and try to reduce the pain as much as possible.
No questions. I just have a wonky question. So over near, I'm over near Jurgens Park and they've done a terrific job pouring and asphalting, but I mean, but the concrete, it can solidify and I mean, with the rain and the cold, I'm just amazed how they poured these things. And I saw the cement layers, doing their thing and stuff like that. It looked like it was holding pretty well, but I thought you couldn't do that. You couldn't do concrete in cold and rain.
You tend to have to use a little different kind of mix. And so most of the concrete plants will have a wet weather mix that they use. And then if they are pouring in the rain, we require them to cover it
Yeah, plastic tarps, they had them all out.
with plastic tarps and tents and make sure it still looks good afterwards.
But they look great. I mean, the stuff that's happened around Hazelbrook. They did a terrific job and beautifully poured. Flattened the cuts and then especially the cuts around the street where they just re-asphalted. They did a very nice job.
Good, great. Yeah, there are a couple spots on Boone's Ferry that will be requiring them to, and they have some treatments they can do just on the surface to fix some imperfections and a couple spots where you have what look like stamps of leaves that they'll be covering back over.
Cure, that was the question I was asking. How long for the concrete to cure? Okay. Right, anything else? Well, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, well, thank you all.
Now Betsy gets.
Are you sure?
Betsy and Jerry Ann. Let's see, what do you bring to sit down first? All right, so now we're really up to item number 1, consideration of ordinance number 1473-23, creating the Tualatin Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access, otherwise known as the IDEA Advisory Committee, and defining its scope, authority, duties, and membership. Welcome again.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Buenas tardes. Again, Betsy Rodriguez Roof, Community Engagement Coordinator for the city. And we are here to present the final ordinance for the creation of the Tualatin Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Advisory Committee. In short, the IDEA Advisory Committee, which is how I will refer to it during the presentation to save us a lot of time. So the purpose of tonight's discussion includes to inform the City Council of the proposed IDEA Advisory Committee and its progress to date. We will discuss the timeline for the establishment of the IDEA Advisory Committee and the recruitment process for committee members. We're also going to outline the marketing plan to promote the IDEA Advisory Committee and including how the City Council can help us with our outreach efforts. And finally, to request the City Council approval of the ordinance to create the IDEA Advisory Committee. And with that, I'll pass it to Jerry Ann, who's going to talk about next steps.
Hi, I'm Jerry Ann Thompson. I'm the library director. I'm also the city's new equity and inclusion officer, which is what brings me here to join you tonight. So just to remind you, the IDEA Advisory Committee's purpose is to help the city build and strengthen relationships with the community, as well as lower barriers to public participation in city government. When we began the recruitment process, our goal is to reach out to as many people as possible to ensure the committee is diverse and representative of our community. If everything goes as planned, we're hoping to hold the first meeting in fall of this year. Betsy and I will be the staff liaisons, providing support and guidance to the committee.
Thank you, Darian. So next we're going to talk about our marketing plan. So how we plan to market the IDEA Advisory Committee. We do have a bilingual outreach plan in place to promote the IDEA Advisory Committee to the community, but we also can provide any material in additional languages if needed. So you will notice that our marketing plan will have a similar approach that we had with the Equity Committee Planning Group. As you see the list on the slide, some of our outreach efforts include using our social media platforms like our Spanish Facebook group, Somos Tualatin, our website, purchasing ads in Tualatin Live. We'll have printed materials such as flyers. We'll do in-person marketing. We will be reaching out to our school districts and individual schools, the Affinity Alliance groups, as well as partnering with our local faith organizations, city committees, and staff, amongst others. We will also ask that city council assist with our outreach efforts by sharing our marketing material. If anybody's up for making another video, Councilor Sacco. And in addition, we will be sharing testimonials from the Equity Committee Planning Group members, some who volunteered to share their experience with the Equity Committee Planning Group, and they to encourage other folks to apply to the IDEA Advisory Committee. And so we will continue to have a personal and intentional approach to our recruitment. Our goal, as Jerry-Ann said, is to eliminate barriers to participation. We want to make sure that anyone that's interested in applying feels welcome to do so. We are definitely very available to and accessible to do things in a different way and make sure that everyone has an opportunity to apply to the committee. And so that covers our marketing plan. And next, I'll pass it back to Jerry-Ann, who will conclude our presentation.
Thanks, Betsy. As Betsy said, we plan to be very intentional in our marketing and outreach for the committee. To help us grab community members' attention, we worked with a graphic designer to create a logo for the committee. We realize most city advisory committees don't have their own logo, but we think that this will help us connect with community members, as well as to graphically convey what we're trying to do in bringing people together to assist the city. Once the establishing ordinance is passed and takes effect, this will be our timeline. We'll start with a solicitation period during which we will actively seek applicants to serve on the committee. This period will be widely advertised through various channels, as Betsy just described. After the solicitation period ends, the Council Committee on Advisory Appointments would review the applications and conduct interviews. The committee would make recommendations for appointment to the IDEA Advisory Committee, and the appointments would then be made by City Council. Committee members will be notified of the appointment and staff will begin to work to schedule the first meeting, which is currently planned for this fall. The meeting date and time will be posted on the city website and announced through various channels. We are planning to hire a consultant to help us start the work of this committee on the right foot. We're happy to answer any questions about the ordinance or the process for starting the committee. Thank you.
I do have several questions. I would say I first have concerns. The first concern I have is, why do we have people outside of Tualatin being part of this committee? First question. I'm sure there's probably been a lot of work done around that. I'm trying to get caught up on all this. Why high school students right now when high school kids need to be in school learning? Schools have tremendous problems with focus, grades, attendance, enrollment. And the list is long right now. And to add high school kids to this committee, I think it's ill, in my opinion. A diverse background, I don't understand why it has to be the rainbow color. That seems very tilted to one direction. I would rather it be a more neutral approach to approach everybody, not just one specific group, which that logo highlights that specific group. So I have concerns around that. So.
Okay. So to start with your first question about including people outside of Tualatin, I would say that's pretty consistent with most of our advisory committees. I can't really speak to the history of that, but as someone who works with the Library Advisory Committee and has followed council news, I know that there are a lot of people who live in Tualatin who work outside of Tualatin, and a lot of people who live outside of Tualatin who work in Tualatin, and so spend a significant amount of time here. We also have very close borders with Durham, Tigard, and other communities where you may have somebody living literally right across the street from the city limits, but they spend most of their time in our city. So from my perspective, that's part of the reason. I would turn to Sherilyn if there's anything to add.
I guess I would just add that, to riff off of what Jerry-Ann said, was that it is fairly consistent with our other committees. I know Planning Commission, the court area,
Library.
Art.
Yeah.
Maybe all the other committees
Yeah.
allow at least one person outside of Tualatin.
Regarding your second question about high school students, there are a significant number of youth in our community, and it's my opinion personally that youth also deserve to have a voice represented in city government. Again, speaking from my experience with the Library Advisory Committee, where we do have a student member, it's been extremely valuable to have their opinions expressed, to learn their insights, and then be able to make improvements based on that information. I think it's also important because it gives kids an opportunity for leadership experience, a way to get involved in civic governance and civic work, which can inspire some students to pursue, careers in the public fields. So I think there are many advantages that can come from including a student representative. I think certainly being concerned about academic performance is definitely something we would want to take seriously. However, I would say, most of the meetings are held in the evening and the committee gets to decide when the meetings are held. So it should be held at a time when students are available. And I don't know, anything to add to that, Betsy, about the students?
I would just add that the Equity Committee Planning Group discussed the composition of the members, and they came up with the positions, like the youth position and 2 positions that live outside of the city.
And then your third question was as relates to, oh, sorry.
Can I just add to that, because it's on topic with the youth. So I was part of the planning committee, and that was, I just want to emphasize, and I had my hand up before you started talking, Betsy, sorry. So, and that was a topic that we had a lot of conversation about, the youth, and, the youth see different issues from their perspective when it comes to, equity and inclusion that we might not see from our perspective being adults. So I thought that was very important, and also the leadership aspect. And just speaking from experience, my son was part of the Youth Advisory Committee, which gave him, great opportunities to be a part of the community. But your concerns that you expressed were absolutely considered by the committee, and as the committee discussed those, decided that having a youth participate was important to the planning committee.
And as someone that has been selecting or being in the panel of interviewing a lot of the youth or even members and assigning members to committees, I can't tell you enough how amazing these young people are about time. I mean, just the way they speak, the way they project themselves, the time management skills that they have, the opportunities to also just to be around adults helps them a lot too for even future decisions. It helps them with college applications. So I'm not going to say the adults are not my favorite, but I have to say that it is always amazing to interview, and I have done that for the last almost 5 years. And it's amazing to interview a young person with such a maturity and amazing ideas that we can appreciate as adults. And so I really, I'm happy that we are adding a couple of young people. And just another addition as far as people who don't live in Tualatin, I realized last time when they presented that there were people that consider they're outside, they're like unincorporated, but they consider Tualatin their city, and they themselves did not know that they were part of the city of Tualatin. So I feel like I think they have value to what happens in Tualatin.
Your third question was in regards to seeking to appoint members from a diversity of backgrounds, I believe.
It was more sort of reference to the color of the logo speaks to one specific group. Okay. And so when we're looking to get a diverse interest involvement, sometimes this could be a controversial matter. The last thing that I would want is this to be a political organization within our city organization, because as soon as it's adopted, it becomes very difficult to undo or begin to challenge this. And that's what I am very concerned about, especially with the current political arena in the last 3 years have been quite charged significantly. And then to add a color like that, which I think is beautiful, because I'm in landscaping, I love those colors. But I think that we should attract everybody, not just a logo that represents more of the specific group.
So can you explain what group that you're referring to? Because the colors that we used are actually the city's branding colors.
Could you pull up our website? I'm familiar with the website, but I know that when you look at the rainbow color, which those colors are very representative of the rainbow color, it does speak more to the LGBT culture and community. And I worry that if we have people who aren't in the LGBTQ plus, that they may not want to be part of this group, and I don't want that. I want everybody. And just like I wouldn't want one specific race only being on that committee. And I'm concerned about that. Or if it's only one color or this group, but I see our color, I get it. But because of this is called the idea, which is that diversity include those subjects, those topics are very politically charged right now, not just here, but throughout the nation. And those colors are reminiscent of one group specifically. And so I'm concerned that my hope is that it does not become a political organization with our city charter, funded by city charter and supported by city and staff, even including myself. So that's the reason why, but thank you. Those are great answers on the students and the people outside the city, the high school kids. All wonderful. Okay, all wonderful. But I have those questions that need to be answered, but this last one I'm worried about.
So I appreciate you sharing your concern. That certainly wasn't our intent in choosing those colors. As I said, we were going with the city's colors that we use in various types of marketing, but the logo definitely could be adjusted.
It's kind of funny because when I saw the colors, I thought, oh, you intentionally didn't use those identifying colors, but you made it a variety of colors. So I just took it totally different.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you very much for answering the questions.
Other questions?
Yeah, I did. Was it decided how many members will be in the committee? Because I think it was between certain amounts.
Right. The ordinance language allows for 9 to 13 members. I'm sure you could speak to this more than me, but I think part of the idea there was to give council flexibility. So if you have a lot of really good candidates, you've got a little more room in your selection process. But that recommendation came from
the group. Yeah.
But I asked because we're going to be selecting, so I want to make sure we have the right amount.
Yeah, going back to, I know when we had the other committee, we really wanted a wide variety of people with, and so with your marketing plan, are you planning to reach out not only to like our BIPOC community, but to our, well, we know the youth, but the elderly community, our people that have physical, limitations and all kinds of diverse people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think we want to make sure that we're representing as much of the community as we can in all facets of the community.
Perspectives from all over the place to better inform us.
Yes, and I can add, so we, as I said earlier, we plan to follow our model for the Equity Committee Planning Group Marketing, and the feedback was that that our marketing really attracted a diverse group to apply. So we plan to do that, but also the group did discuss involving our all abilities community. So we definitely will include them as well.
Because someone told a story when they were interviewing us about, like, we had a swing in our park and it was for people in wheelchairs, but they had to push across bark dust and it was very difficult.
Yes, yes.
I'm supposed to not think about it.
I just have a comment, a question. I just want to say I'm really excited to see this come to this point. I know that the group worked very hard to get to this point, and there's so many passionate individuals that represent different communities within our community. And I think that's one of the things that make Tualatin such a great place to live, is our diverse community and coming together to just really elevate and celebrate inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. And access was actually a huge underlying issue that was brought up during the meetings, and I'm so glad to see that that's added, because not everybody does have the same access, and that's huge in developing our community. So thank you for all your hard work, and I'm just really excited to see this. And I just did want to mention too that we have somebody from our planning group here tonight. So thank you for being here.
Comments?
And I do, just because a lot of people think of inclusion, diversity, equity, and access, it's just certain groups, but I did like the fact that during the presentation, they did express the inclusion of people. We understand that this community is built, the percentage is predominantly on the Anglo culture, white culture. So I felt like it was really the fact that they acknowledge and say, we want everybody, and we don't want to exclude people, like be an exclusion to the other, to like become like exclusive to even the culture, the other cultures. I don't know how they put it together, but because they were experts at that, but I really appreciated that, because we don't want to form an inclusive inclusion, diversity, access, and then exclude a certain group, because then that just defeats the purpose of this committee. So I really liked that they acknowledged that, and I thought that was a really good point that they made.
I'd like to move that we have a first reading by title only of ordinance number 1473-23.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for reading by title only of ordinance number 1473-23. Any discussions on the motions? These are roll call, right?
So, yes.
I think we did roll call over, I think back in the day, we did roll call on Zoom, but in pre-COVID, no, we did voice, but we'll keep the roll. Counselor Sacco.
Aye.
Counselor Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Nay.
Just for reading?
Oh, go ahead and read it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Council President Pratt.
Aye.
I vote aye also.
Thank you. An ordinance number 1473-23, an ordinance creating the Tualatin Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Advisory Committee and defining its scope of authority, duties, and membership.
I'll motion for a second reading by title only of ordinance number 1473-23.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for second reading by title only of ordinance number 1473-23. In discussion on those motions. On this end, Counselor Gonzalez.
Is it the vote?
Just to
The next one's where you want
So, yes.
to. Counselor Sacco.
Aye.
Counselor Reyes.
Yes.
Council President Pratt.
Aye.
I vote aye also.
Thank you. And ordinance number 1473-23, an ordinance creating the Tualatin Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Advisory Committee and defining its scope of authority, duties, and membership.
I move to adopt ordinance number 1473-23, creating the Tualatin Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Advisory Committee.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 1473-23 and ordinance creating a Tualatin Idea Committee. Any discussions on those motions? Counselor Sacco.
Aye.
Counselor Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
No.
Council President Pratt.
Aye.
I vote aye also. Since it's not unanimous, we'll come back to at our next city council meeting for a second vote. Okay.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. That brings us to council communications. We had no items removed from consent agenda tonight. Any council communications? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Motion second for adjourning tonight. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you and for coming tonight and watching on Zoom. Have a pleasant evening.